Court will not withdraw the execution sentence for Marcellus Williams. That ruling coming in today. Williams was convicted of killing a former St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter in 1998, but has always maintained his innocence. Right now, St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell is looking to overturn that conviction. The ruling today means his execution date is still set for September 24th. Williams can, however, still petition the court to delay. Williams' attorney sent us this statement saying, quote, "We will continue to pursue justice in the circuit court. We are confident that any court, when presented with all of the evidence, including the DNA evidence, will come to the same conclusion as St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell, that Marcellus Williams is innocent and his conviction must be overturned."
Hello. Welcome to Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and this is an update for Marcellus Williams. So this is my wrongful conviction series called Innocence Lost, and every week I give you a different inmate or individual who's been wrongly accused, wrongfully convicted of a crime, and we go over kind of the details and what went wrong during their criminal proceedings. So today we're going to do an update on someone that we've already done a video on, but there is an update in his case. His name is Marcellus Williams. He's an inmate in Missouri, St. Louis County, and he is factually innocent. This is another case of he's been put away in prison. He's been sitting there for 20 plus years, and eventually throughout that time, new evidence comes out. He gets exonerated by this DNA evidence, yet he's still sitting and awaiting execution, which is scheduled to be September 24th of this year. So he is running out of time. I am giving this update because this is important. I've been putting out his petition to sign, which I will also put in this video below in the description, so you can sign the petition to stop Missouri from executing an innocent man. So with that, I will get us started. Please hit the like button and also the notification bell so you make sure that you don't miss out on wrongful conviction stories and stories of people who are suffering from ABUSE as well as ABUSE from the government. So we're gonna this is my channels. I talk more about victims who are victims of SA, CA, and what they how that can affect a criminal path. Later on, we're rewatching the Lyle and Eric Menendez trial on my channel. If you are interested in that, we have just gotten through most of the defense's case, and we will be starting up with Eric and Lyle's testimony very shortly. So that is something to, if you're interested. I take a look at it from the perspective of these boys were victims, and let's look at it from face value, what the defense attorneys are telling us, and the witnesses through the testimony. Anyways, sorry to go on. But it's very important that we look at situations in our justice system where there have been victims of abuse or victims of abuse and overreach of the government and overreach of power, maybe a little bit of negligence on the law enforcement's part or the prosecution's part. So that's kind of the angle that I go with on many of my cases that I follow. So back to Marcellus. Let's get started. So who is Marcellus? Marcellus Williams is a man that's facing execution in Missouri despite the fact that there is DNA evidence to prove his innocence. He is scheduled to be executed on September 24th, even as the prosecuting attorney seeks to vacate his wrongful conviction. So the actual prosecutor who prosecuted Marcellus's case is trying to get his conviction vacated, which Like, I've never heard of that happening. I'm sure it does, but it's rare that a prosecutor will admit that, hey, we got the wrong guy back then, and now take him, let's let him free. That's a big whoopsies. So not too many people want to admit to that. So here is the case update. So as you know, Marcellus is scheduled in, what is it, like 50 something days from now to September 24th. There's a countdown, I think. All right. So the case update, this was from July 2nd of this year. The Circuit Court of St. Louis, Missouri, St. Louis County, Missouri, sorry, scheduled a hearing for August 21st. So this is coming up. What date is that? I gotta put it on my calendar. Hold on. The 21st is a Wednesday. So August 21st to assess the quote, clear and convincing evidence, end quote, of actual innocence that led prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell to move to vacate Marcellus Williams' wrongful conviction and execution sentence. So Marcellus Williams is scheduled to be executed September 24th for a crime DNA proves he did not commit. The St. Louis prosecuting attorney reviewed these DNA results and filed a motion to vacate Mr. Williams' conviction because he believed that the DNA results proved by clear and convincing evidence that Mr. Williams did not commit this crime. Although the circuit court has not yet scheduled a hearing to address this motion, that's that's incorrect. They have. So they have, which is going to be August 21st. Um, no court has ever considered the new exculpatory evidence. So at no point has a, any court or jury or anyone looked at this new exculpatory evidence of Mr. Williams. So the execution date is still stands, but the circuit court is going to review this motion or allow them to argue this motion. So time is running out to stop the execution of an innocent person. Here's what you need to know about this case. We've gone over this, but this is kind of a review. So number one, the crime scene was covered with forensic evidence that contained no link to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams has been asking to prove his innocence throughout the 23, I think it's almost 24 years now, that he has spent on Missouri's D. Row. On August 11th, 1998, Felicia Gale, a former reporter for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, was found stabbed in her home, and her life was lost due to the injuries. The perpetrator left behind considerable forensic evidence, including fingerprints, footprints, hair, and trace DNA on the weapon, which was a knife from her own kitchen. None of the forensic evidence matches Mr. Williams. So, a woman who works for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch was found in her home, lifeless, stabbed. No, the person who did the crime actually did leave behind a lot of forensic evidence, but none of it links to Williams. And the knife that was used was from Gail's kitchen, the victim's kitchen. So again, where's the link to Marcellus Williams? Number two, the prosecution's case against Mr. Williams was based entirely on the unreliable testimony of two incentivized witnesses, and this is a huge problem in our justice system. Prosecutors often make deals with inmates to get them to put other people away, basically. So if you tell me what I want to hear, tell me that this person confessed to this crime in this upcoming trial that I'm doing, and I'll see to it that you get some years off of your sentence for good behavior. And that happens more often than not. You'd be surprised. Prosecutors can be shady, shady, shady. That's what I'm learning from doing this channel is prosecutors aren't on the up and up a lot of times. All right, so the case against Mr. Williams turned on the testimony of two unreliable witnesses who were incentivized by promises of leniency in their own pending criminal cases, and not just that, but reward money So they were also paid. If that's not an incentive, I don't know what is. The investigation had gone cold until a jail inmate named Henry Cole, a man with a lengthy record, claimed that Mr. Williams confessed to him that he committed the crime while they were both locked up in jail. So apparently, Mr. Williams just confessed to this Henry Cole, and that's what they're going to go with. So Cole directed police, even though he's maintained his innocence everywhere else, but sure, he told this Henry Cole, who is going to be facing a lot of time, probably. Right, so Cole directed police to Laura Asaro, a woman who had briefly dated Mr. Williams and had an extensive record on her own. So somebody who had had a previous romance with Mr. Williams might maybe have some some angry feelings towards that person if things didn't, you know, split amicably. They might have a motive to get that individual back for something. I don't, if they feel like they'd been wronged in the relationship. So both of these individuals, who are known fabricators, so they're no liars, neither revealed any information that was not either included in media accounts about the case or already known to the police, so they gave nothing new to the case. Their statements were inconsistent with their own prior statements, which means originally police asked them very casually, like, what happened here? And they say one thing. And then you get on the stand and they say something else. A huge um, or a really good example of this is the Karen Reed case. I hit him. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Turns into I hit him, I hit him, I hit him after months and months and months. So witness statements can evolve and change over time. And then when the prosecution thinks that sometimes it's not even on the witness's fault, it's just, media and things kind of it, um, create bias within them. They might see certain news articles or news clips, and then that creates a bias based on what they heard. So we all come into cases with a bias based on our own experiences, and it is what it is. So therefore, it's really more important for us to be compassionate for others. Even if we don't agree or don't like them, we should show more compassion these days. Just saying. All right, so their statements were inconsistent with their own prior statements, with each other's accounts, and with the crime scene evidence, and none of the information they provided could be independently verified. So, how are these witnesses ever deemed credible? I almost wish, like, throughout the process of direct and cross examination, it's like made clear right after that person testifies, like, nope, they're lying, or so you shouldn't trust their testimony. But that is up to the jury to decide. But it would be great if there was like something in our court system to say, like, well, this person's been inconsistent, so we're going to disregard their testimony or something. I mean, I know that happens in some cases, but it's very rare. Anyways, all right. Statements were inconsistent. Aside from their testimony, the only evidence connecting Mr. Williams to the crime was a witness who said Mr. Williams sold him a laptop taken from Ms. Gale's home, but the jury did not learn that Mr. Williams told the witness he had received the laptop from Laura Asaro. So there's some lies and inconsistencies and maybe some misdirection going on in testimony there. Number 3, new DNA testing confirms that Mr. Williams is innocent, yet no court has ever considered this evidence, which is horrendous. As as he has fought to prove his innocence, Mr. Williams has repeatedly faced imminent execution, and it keeps being changed and continued. His execution date keeps getting continued and moving it further and further down the line. So every day he wakes up, he still knows he's on D row, but he probably also knows he's running out of chances. So it's really important that they vacate his uh, charges or conviction altogether. So to date, no court has given substantive consideration to the evidence exonerating him. In 2015, 9 years ago, the Missouri State Court or Supreme Court stayed Mr. Williams' execution and appointed a special master to review DNA testing of potentially exculpatory evidence. This testing showed that Mr. Williams was not the source of male DNA found on the weapon. This is important. It's exculpatory. And he's been sitting, so this information comes out in 2015 and he's still sitting in prison in 2024. However, in 2017, after the testing was completed, but without conducting a hearing or making any findings based on the outcome of the testing, the appointed special master sent Mr. Williams' case back to the Missouri Supreme Court. Was it like he doesn't want to deal with it? What? That court also, without considering the DNA testing results, again scheduled Mr. Williams' execution. It's like no one wants to look at his case. Recognizing that the new evidence raised serious doubts about Mr. Williams' guilt, then Governor Eric Greitens stayed the execution and convened a board of inquiry to investigate the case on August 22nd, 2017, mere hours before Mr. Williams' execution and after his last meal. So he had his last meal. Jesus. All right. Under Missouri law, the state was to remain in place until the Board of Inquiry concluded its review and issued a formal report. Yet, in June 2023, while the Board of Inquiry review remained ongoing, Governor Mike Parson, without warning or notice, dissolved the board without a report or recommendation from the board. So they're investigating this and this possible exoneration or exonerating evidence. And then this board is just abolished by the new governor. Missouri Attorney Governor or General, sorry, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey then promptly sought a new execution date. Mr. Williams sued Governor Parson because the dissolution of the board without a report or recommendation violated the law and his constitutional rights. Heck yes, go after these people. We can sue them. They're not untouchable. Governors and politicians, prosecutors, we got to hold them accountable. The governor tried to dismiss the lawsuit, but a Cole County civil judge denied his request. Heck yeah, judge. Go, good for him. The governor then asked the Missouri Supreme Court to intervene. The Missouri Supreme Court agreed to intervene, and on June 4th, it dismissed the lawsuit and immediately scheduled Mr. Williams' execution for September 24, 2024. Why, in this country, is it so difficult? You can literally go to the appropriate people and say, look, I've got exonerating evidence. This is exculpatory. I didn't do it. And yet you can still be put on D row for it. You can still be executed for it. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Number 4. In 2024, the St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney concluded that Mr. Williams was actually innocent. The prosecuting attorney, so the individual who prosecuted Mr. Williams in the first place, said, nope, he's not just not guilty, but he's actually innocent. And he moved to vacate this conviction. After the exculpatory DNA evidence was brought to his attention, St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Wesley Bell appointed a special prosecutor to review Mr. Williams' case. At least some people are honest and doing what's right and what's for the greater good, like this judge who dismissed or who refused to dismiss the lawsuit for the governor, even though the Supreme Court did. Bogus, whatever. This special prosecutor reviewed the findings of 3 independent DNA experts. All 3 concluded that Mr. Williams was not the source of male DNA on the weapon and therefore could not have taken Ms. Gale's life. Mr. Williams' exclusion from the weapon is consistent with his exclusion from other forensic evidence collected from the crime scene, including a shoe print and hairs that were found on the victim's body. Recognizing that new evidence suggests that Mr. Williams is actually innocent, the St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney filed a motion to vacate Mr. Williams' conviction in January 2024. Why did it take this long? Why? It's been sitting there for 9 years with exculpatory evidence sitting in his file. Why does it take this long to be heard? Do we need to make a petition for the president? I mean, what does it take? I don't understand. Whose attention do we need to get to make them realize this guy is not the one? All right, so the motion states DNA evidence supporting a conclusion that Mr. Williams was not the individual who stabbed Ms. Gale has never been considered by any court. This never before considered evidence, when paired with the relative paucity of other credible evidence supporting guilt, casts inexorable doubt, on Mr. Williams' conviction and sentence. The prosecuting attorney urged the circuit court to begin the process of correcting this manifest injustice by holding a hearing on the newfound evidence and the integrity of Mr. Williams' conviction. And we do have a hearing scheduled to hear this. I don't think they would have heard it without the prosecuting attorney going to bat for Mr. Williams, saying that they should vacate. Just my opinion. Having a former prosecutor who actually prosecuted this case saying I don't stand behind the conviction, it really means something. So why are we still here? Why has he not been let out yet? This is what's one of the main flaws. We need to shine a light on these processes in our justice system. This guy's been sitting in prison for 24 years. For 9 of those years, he's had exculpatory evidence. It just baffles my mind. All right, number 5. The Missouri Attorney General continues a history of fighting innocence cases. Although the prosecuting attorney's motion remains pending and the law requires the court to hold a hearing on it, the Missouri Attorney General has taken the position that Mr. Williams' innocence does not matter, and the Missouri Supreme Court has scheduled his execution. The Missouri Attorney General's office has argued in other DP cases that even DNA evidence of innocence is not enough to stop an execution. Why? It should be. In a 2003 oral argument before the Missouri Supreme Court, Justice Laura Denvir Stiff asked Assistant Attorney General Frank Young, "Are you suggesting even if we find that Mr. Amrine is actually innocent, he should be executed?" "That is correct, Your Honor," Young replied. The Missouri Supreme Court ultimately disagreed, and Mr. Amrine was exonerated. Finally, some people with some common sense. But over 20 years later, the same arguments are still being made. Seriously. The Missouri Attorney General's office has opposed every innocence case for the last 30 years, including every attempt made by a local prosecutor to overturn a conviction on the basis of innocence, as the St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney is doing in Mr. Williams' case. In 2021 and 2023, Kevin Strickland and Lamar Johnson were exonerated despite the Attorney General's attempt to thwart the prosecutor's motion to vacate. Incentivized informants are a leading cause of wrongful convictions. Jailhouse informant testimony like that leading to Mr. Williams' conviction is one of the leading contributing factors of wrongful convictions nationally, playing a role in 15% of the 598 DNA-based exoneration cases. So, in my opinion, it's like they didn't have strong enough cases, So they used witnesses to bolster their cases, potentially, incentivizing them for, less jail time for their sentences or money, cash rewards. 11 of the 54 individuals exonerated in Missouri were convicted with the use of informant testimony. 11 of 45 people, just in Missouri alone, that were convicted from informant testimony. In capital cases, false testimony from incentivized witnesses is the leading cause of wrongful convictions, with informant testimony present in 49.5% of wrongful convictions since the mid 1970s. It is earth shattering how many wrongful convictions happen in this country and why we're allowing it or keeping them in prison. For what reason? When they've been ex- exonerated by evidence but not exonerated by the courts. It makes no sense. Number 7, racial bias contributed to Mr. Williams' wrongful conviction. Mr. Williams, a black man, was wrongfully convicted of taking the life of a white woman. His jury was comprised of 11 white people and only one black person. Seriously, folks, we can do better than this. It could be, it's supposed to be a jury of your peers, not a jury of a bunch of people that might be against you and one peer. I mean, not that, white people can't be a peer, but it just seems very unfair. The prosecutor, whose institutional practice of racial discriminatory jury selection has been widely documented, successfully removed 6 of 7 qualified black prospective jurors with preemptory challenges. Wow. So the prosecutor removed 6 qualified prospective jurors with their challenges. So basically, potentially, maybe, trying to get anyone who is black off the jury, allegedly. A recent study of 400 death eligible, death, probably DP eligible cases in St. Louis County over a 27-year period also revealed racial disparity in the use of the DP based upon the race of the victim. People who were convicted were 3.5 times more likely to receive the DP if the victim was white, as in this case, compared to if the victim was black. Okay. Number 8, Mr. Williams is devoutly religious and an accomplished poet. So that's something you should know about Mr. Williams. During his 4 years in prison, Mr. Williams has devoted much of his time to studying Islam and writing poetry. He serves as I don't know how to say that, IMAM for Muslim prisoners at Potosi Correctional Center and is known as Khalifa, meaning leader in Arabic. He has an exemplary prison record and is widely respected within the prison community and beyond. So he is, like, by all accounts, just a really good prisoner, always on good behavior, trying to inspire and help others. Number 9, you can help stop Mr. Williams' unjust execution. We have until September 24th at 6 p.m. to stop Mr. Williams' wrongful execution. Here's how you can help stop. There's a petition. You can share his story. There's even pictures and social media things that you can download. Use your voice, create a reel, TikTok, whatever you feel like doing in your way to get the word out. DNA evidence proves that Mr. Williams is actually innocent, and the St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney has moved to vacate his wrongful conviction, yet the Missouri Attorney General is fighting his innocence, and the Missouri Supreme Court has scheduled his execution. Okay. With the weight of the new evidence and the unreliability of the witnesses who testified against Mr. Williams, his conviction must be reevaluated to ensure that justice is truly served. dedicated professionals from the Innocence Project, the Midwest Innocence Project, and Brian Cave, along with attorneys Larry Comp and the Federal Public Defender, Western District of Missouri, and Kent Gibson make up the team that contributes to fight to stop his execution. They hope that justice will eventually prevail by way of the exoneration. And I urge you folks, I urge you all, I'm putting a link down below in my video. Go, please sign the petition, share his information. It's very, very important that the world knows how often juries get it wrong, how often law enforcement and prosecutors and judges get it wrong. There are people sitting in prison right now who are wrongfully convicted, and they may be like Marcellus, where they have exculpatory evidence sitting in their case file and no one's doing anything about it. This could be your family. It could be you sitting in prison instead of Marcellus Williams sitting on D row waiting your execution and taking your last meal for a second time. Wow. I can't even imagine what, I don't even want to know. I mean, I'm just going to cry if I think about it. So I just feel my heart goes out to Marcellus Williams, his family, and I hope that all of these wonderful individuals that are helping him in his case can get some light shed on his innocence and get him exonerated. So let me know what you guys think about this case below. Um, I will do, that's what I was going to say. I slipped out of my mind for a second. I will do an update after this, was it August 21st hearing, Wednesday, August 21st hearing. I'll do an update again and we can go over. I wonder if it's going to be televised or anything like that. Probably not, but I could look into that and see. That would be interesting if we could actually hear the hearing and hear the arguments for it. They filed a motion. They actually do have the motion to vacate here. Hmm. Sorry, I'm just seeing how long this is if I want to read it or not. Oh, it's a 63-page document. We will not be reading that today. Maybe in my update, we can go over some key points in this. We'll do an update after August 21st. So I'll do a video after that Wednesday for the following Sunday, and I'll do an update. We'll read some of the motion to vacate, and this is from the prosecuting attorney, the actual document from the prosecuting attorney. So there might be some good stuff in there to look at. So I'll review that for you guys. I'll download it now, and then we'll get cracking on that. And hopefully, when I talk to you guys next about Marcellus Williams, he will be a free man. So definitely hit that like button, share this video, get the word out. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. Have a good one. Bye now.
If you've been impacted by a true crime and would like your story told in your own words, or if you or someone you know has been wrongfully convicted or accused of a crime, please write to crimeincourtchannel@gmail.com and tell us your real true crime encounters. Thanks for watching.